It is time for my final thought. After being told by defense attorneys that she made a series of, quote, reasonable mistakes that led to Botham Jean's death, juries yesterday began their deliberations in the case of Amber Guyger, the Dallas police officer who killed Jean in his own home. Her mistakes were laid out in her trial last week. The mistakes she made in parking on the wrong floor of her apartment garage while sexting with a fellow police officer. The mistakes she made in going to the wrong floor, going to a door that wasn't hers, not noticing the red mat that lay on the floor outside it. The mistakes she made in entering another person's home, his safe place, his castle. The mistake she made in drawing her gun instead of retreating to a safe distance as she was instructed to do in her training. The mistake she made in pulling the trigger twice with the intention to kill. The mistake she made in not immediately starting CPR, not immediately using her first aid kit and training to try and stop the life from running out of a man onto his own living room floor. The mistake she made in deleting the text of her conversation with her fellow as Mr. Jean's chilling body was wheeled by. During her testimony, Officer Guyger tearfully laid out her reasonable mistakes, tearfully explained how they led her to pull the trigger of her weapon, how they reasonably drove the thought of helping an innocent man from her mind. Despite all of this, the judge in the case instructed the jury that they could consider the castle doctrine, a Texas law similar to stand your ground while deliberating her guilt or innocence, even though she was in somebody else's castle. Yes, you heard me. They've been asked to consider her rights to stand her ground when she accosted him in his home. What the judge is allowing this jury to do is to place the intruder's fear over that of the homeowner. The fears of an armed and trained officer of the state may be considered over the fears of a man armed only with his skin and a bowl of ice cream. In a statement yesterday, the attorney representing the Jean's family said, quote, Botham was reclining on his couch when he was killed. Those facts are undisputed. And now this jury will make a determination whether or not his life mattered. And he's correct. Those facts are indisputable. What's also indisputable is that often in cases like these, the facts, like certain lives, don't seem to matter. Guyger herself ended her testimony by saying, quote, I wish he was the one with the gun that killed me, end quote. Legally, he could have done just that. She was an armed intruder in his home. But if he had, how do you think his trial will be going right now? We're going to continue this conversation online. You guys have a beautiful Tuesday. Get up, DC.